Well, speaking of people that wanted to defund the police, such as Zohran Mamdani, he's been on a media blitz, arguing why he should be mayor of New York City, and he wants to reduce the jail population and ensure that New York City courts release suspects faster. Listen to this.
The jail population of Rikers has increased since Eric Adams has come into office by more than 1,000 additional incarcerated New Yorkers. And what is quite staggering to me is that we know that we can reduce that jail population to less than 4,000. I mean, Vital City had an article about a number of different proposals that could reduce it to 3,700. And some of this also just has to look at the average stay on Rikers in the 90s was 50 days. Now it's more than 100. There are more than 1,500 people on Rikers who have been held there for more than a year. So I do think many of the reforms that have to be made are also reforms around the court system.
Josh, he says this at the same time that Bernie Sanders joined Mamdani in a town hall in Brooklyn over the weekend, where they're, of course, slamming Donald Trump and promising to promote rent freezes in the final weeks of New York City's mayoral race. Now, Zohran Mamdani, as I say, has been on a media blitz. He also sat down for an interview with CBS, The Point, with Marsha Kramer, where he insists that we shouldn't be judging him on his past comments and his track record because he's actually a transformed man. Listen to this.
Many of my opponents, chiefly Andrew Cuomo, would prefer to debate a mythical version of myself than the person that I actually am. They would prefer to focus on tweets from 2020 as opposed to the platform of 2025. And they prefer to do that because they know that our ideas are actually popular. And what we are putting forward is a response to New Yorkers' needs that goes beyond the failed ideas and policies that they've heard from these old politicians.
What you're really saying is that those tweets of 2020, you've evolved from that, you've changed from that, you've changed your views.
Yes, that those are out of step with the campaign that we are running, and it's been clear throughout.
Out of step with how you feel.
Yes.
So
yes.
You've totally changed your mind.
Yes.
Oh, Josh, I'm lost for words. What do you make of this?
I mean, does anyone in the world, Gabriella, believe this guy? I mean, does literally anyone believe that he has changed a single one of his most radical beliefs? I mean, Gabrielle, this is a guy who was accusing Israel of genocide after October 7th, literally before the IDF tanks started rolling into Gaza to go to war against Hamas. You know, while the blood was still drying from the single largest massacre of the Jewish people since World War II. He was accusing Israel of genocide. I mean, this is a guy who was literally quoting Karl Marx's Communist Manifesto as recently as like a year and a half, 2 years ago. I mean, he can quote the Communist Manifesto probably verbatim because he's an actual communist. I mean, you know, I don't even want to call him a socialist. I mean, this is someone who is literally, as far as I can tell, a full-fledged Soviet-style Stalinist, Leninist, Maoist communist. I mean, that is actually what he is. So for him to try to say that Andrew Cuomo, Eric Adams, Curtis Sliwa, the other candidates, that they're running against a mythical version of the past of Zohran Mamdani, no, they're not, dude. No, they're not. They are running against you and your track record. And I mean, the crazy thing, Gabrielle, you know, a lot of people can compare Zohran Mamdani to Barack Obama. They're very superficially similar in certain ways there. You know, frankly, Zohran Mamdani makes Barack Obama look like a positive moderate, which says everything you need to know about where the Democratic Party has gone. Because back in 2008, when Obama upset Hillary Clinton in the presidential primary that year, he was the left-wing insurgent. Hillary was the establishment. But now Zohran Mamdani to Barack Obama, I mean, Barack Obama looks positively centrist compared to this lunatic.
Wow, you know, doesn't that say a lot? Let's just quickly stay on the Democrats and looking at 2028. Maryland's Democratic Governor Wes Moore has ruled out a run for president in 2028, and he made these comments during an interview on NBC News Meet the Press.
You have not announced you're running for re-election. If you do you commit to serve a full term?
Yes, I'll be serving a full term. I'm excited about re-election. I'm excited about what I'm going to be able to do for the people of Maryland.
Do you rule out a run for president, Governor?
Yeah, I'm not running for president.
You rule it out?
Yes, I'm
You
not running for
completely
president.
rule it out?
I'm so excited about what we're doing, that we've gone from 43rd in the country in unemployment to now one of the lowest unemployment rates. We've had amongst the fastest drops in violent crime anywhere in the United States of America. Our population is growing. Maryland is moving. And so I'm really excited about going back in front of the people of my state and asking for another term.
Josh, he was floated as a 2028 presidential contender. Are you surprised by the move?
Look, I mean, this is classic political rhetoric, right? I mean, if Westmore decides to run for president a year or two from now, no one's really going to fault him for lying through his teeth to meet the press in the year 2025. I mean, we've seen this over and over again before. I mean, for what it's worth, I think Democrats could probably do a lot worse than Westmore. I mean, they for instance, could nominate someone like a Jasmine Crockett or an Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, or God forbid, a Zohran Mamdani. I mean, Westmore is not a moderate. He's a pretty liberal guy, but he's very well spoken. He's telegenic. He speaks well there. I mean, his policies are not my policies. He is correct to a very limited extent that the violent crime rate and murder rate in Baltimore, which is one of America's historic murder capitals, it has gone down a little bit. I mean, roughly 15-20% over the past year and a half. Unfortunately, was starting at a truly catastrophic Chicago-esque baseline. So it's still in the top 5, top 10, give or take, of most murderous cities there. So he's true to an extent there. Maryland is still a pretty poorly governed state in many ways as well there. I would not take this one to the bank, though, Gabrielle. I think if Westmore decides to run for president a year or two from now, then he's definitely going to do exactly that.
Josh, you mentioned Jasmine Crockett there. Well, she's revealed her own take on law enforcement. Listen to this.
I want to be clear that, like, law enforcement isn't to prevent crime. Law enforcement solves crime, okay? That is what they're supposed to do. They are supposed to solve crimes, not necessarily prevent them from happening, per se.
Josh, can I get your reaction?
So first of all, where is Jasmine Crockett doing this interview from? I mean, I see kind of like a whole closet of shoes. I mean, is she doing this from her closet? Is she doing it from a department store, like a Bloomingdale's or something like that? I mean, very, very strange choice where a sitting U.S. Congresswoman should be doing interviews. That's my very first, very superficial comment. The second, more important point on the substance is, what is she talking about? I mean, law enforcement has multiple responsibilities. Yes, we have people to solve crimes. Those are detectives. I mean, Sherlock Holmes and kind of the classic, Anglo-American Western style fictional imagination there. But police absolutely deter crimes through, among other things, their mere physical presence. There have been countless studies, countless studies over and over and over again throughout the years from criminologists, people who study crime that show over and over again that the mere fact that you have police cars visible, police walking the streets, police in broad daylight there, that has a tangible, statistically significant, demonstrably repeated over and over again effect in actually reducing crime. So I have no idea what he's talking about. I mean, I hate to just be this blunt, but I guess I will just be this blunt. She's a freaking moron. I mean, Jasmine Crockett is a genuinely low IQ figure. And if Democrats want to cast their lot with people like that for 2028, 2032 and beyond, then good riddance, I guess. Good luck there, because frankly, one party will benefit from that. It's not the Democrats.
Yeah, good luck to them. Look, let's quickly turn to the Middle East. Trump has issued his last warning to Hamas. He wrote, "Everyone wants the hostages home. Everyone wants this war to end. The Israelis have accepted my terms. It is time for Hamas to accept as well. I have warned Hamas about the consequences of not accepting. This is my last warning. There will not be another one. Thank you for your attention to this matter." Josh, will this work?
Well, so there have been conflicting reports on this. So Trump is saying that Israel has agreed to this latest Steve Witkoff proposed hostage ceasefire deal, the details of which have not been made public yet. But Israeli media is reporting that Netanyahu has not quite formally accepted it yet. So there's actually some mixed information there. I think more relevant and more to the point, Gabrielle. I mean, how many times have we seen this story play out over the past year and a half, 2 years since October 7th? Hard to believe it's been almost 2 years, frankly, since that most terrible of days. But I mean, how many times have we seen Hamas say that they're ready to come negotiate there, and then they kind of superficially agree to some floated proposal from Israel, the United States, maybe Qatar, maybe Egypt. And then, what Hamas does is that they change the goalposts over and over and over again throughout these negotiations there. Hamas will never, ever be satisfied with anything other than Hamas remaining in power in Gaza. That is completely irreconcilable with Israel's stipulated goal that Hamas cannot be in power in Gaza there. So, you have you have two things that simply cannot coexist with one another. That's the challenge of any of these negotiations there. And I wish Donald Trump and Steve Witkoff the best of luck there. Ultimately, Gabrielle, the responsibility really does fall on Netanyahu and the Israelis to actually finish this job ASAP. It's been a very long time now. Unfortunately, Donald Trump's been basically yelling to the Israelis, say, "You have my support. Do this thing. Go in hard. Go in quick. Go in fast. Finish it. Finish it. Finish it." I think it's incumbent now upon Prime Minister Netanyahu to actually take that advice.
Finally, here in Sydney, pro-Palestine protesters gathered on our world-famous Bondi Beach over the weekend, waving Palestinian flags, making anti-Semitic chants. And they held this in an area of Sydney with a very large Jewish population, clearly designed to intimidate. And the following day, another anti-Israel activist waved the Palestinian flag on horseback on the same beach here at Bondi. Look at
this is not normal.
I mean, Josh, it's just insane. And this comes, of course, after the Sydney Harbour Bridge protest, which was absolutely shameful. We've got summer just around the corner. This just cannot continue.
I mean, first of all, that's just really weird behavior, right? I mean, getting a horseback on a beach and flying any flag. I mean, let alone the PLO terrorist flag there. But look, I think the number one thing, for Americans, Australians, Europeans, and for everyone to bear in mind here is, tell me what the actual national interest is for Australia, for the United States, for any country in a new Palestinian state. I mean, hold aside the moral consideration. Hold aside that just for a second there. Hold aside that it indeed would be a grossly, grossly immoral act to reward the very same people who just perpetrated this absolute butchery, this absolute Nazi-esque pogrom. It would send a completely horrific, morally inverse and perverse message there. Hold that aside for a second there. What is the actual professed national interest for Australia, the U.S., or any country in a brand new terror state in the heart of the Middle East? A brand new Iranian satrapy, a terror overrun enclave there? There is none. There is no national interest that I can point to there. Rather, the Western interest, whether it's the American, Australian, and European interest, the Western interest is served by an emboldened and buttressed Israel that's able to make alliances with the non-Islamist Arab nations like the Abraham Accords, the UAE, Bahrain, Morocco, and so forth there. And then that coalition, in turn, can patrol and secure the region and deter radical Islamism. That is the Western interest. There is no Western interest served by a new Palestinian state whatsoever.
Josh Hammer, Senior Editor at Large at Newsweek, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you.